Need some coins for that God Squad you've always wanted? Check out rockbottomcoins.com for the cheapest and fastest coins anywhere. Use code ZERK for 15% off your order. And if you guys want to compete in tournaments for cash prizes, make sure to check out tourneycrypt.com.
The whole thing wobbin'.
What's going on, guys? It's Zirksee coming at you today with another YouTube video, and today I'm going over the best investments in Madden 20. I will tell you guys right now, some of these players are going to be pretty expensive because it's just kind of how it is. The more you risk, the higher the reward can potentially be. So keep in mind the players I tell you that I think you could potentially invest in. You also could potentially invest in that player's power-up, or some players may not have a power-up yet. Wink, wink. There's a couple of people I think you guys might want to invest in that don't actually have a power-up yet. Of course, when it comes to investments, these can be long-term, these can be short-term. You don't really know, but again, it's all a risk. This is kind of like a tip that I tell you guys. If you guys are like investing in the stock market, if you're a little bit older as well, you know this. Any money that you invest, you should act like it's already gone. So any coins that you invest, only risk what you can afford to risk. Don't go out and spend your entire coin stack. You can see I have still 5.5 million coins. I have a couple million coins worth of investments, but I'm not going to risk it all because I can't afford to lose it all in case something happens. So just do that. Make sure only risk what you guys can afford to risk. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the best investments and also who I'm personally investing. I'll show you guys. Now, before I go over the exact players that I'm currently invested in, who I think you guys should invest in, also comment down below anyone else you guys think you should invest into. I'm not telling you to invest in DeAndre Hopkins, but I want to show you guys basically the analytics behind it. What kind of causes players to go up in price? What players have in the past have really shot up in price? What players in the past have gone up a little bit? DeAndre Hopkins is definitely one of those, right? He's going for 190K, and this one's actually mine up for 193K and 194,000 coins. And you guys know, if you watch my channel, I told you guys that DeAndre Hopkins was a really good investment, and it was. I sold a couple of mine. The big thing when it comes to investing as well, with certain players, you have to sell off the hype, especially power up. Selling off the hype is key, and I will show you guys the analytics behind that statement. But with DeAndre Hopkins, you guys already know I bought a bunch of DeAndre Hopkins for like 130K, 140K, 150K. People initially kind of flip out when it comes to bigger players, and they immediately sell. So when DeAndre Hopkins got, said that they were going to come out with a new DeAndre Hopkins card, D-Hop was selling for like 140K, 150K, basically exactly what you bought him for, and a bunch of people were like, oh, he never went up in price, whatever, they just ditched him. That's not what you do. When the market is flooded like that, you just hold on to the players, because DeAndre Hopkins' Team of the Year card was decently expensive. It was like 400 plus K. Right now he's kind of down. He's down to like 350 or so, I believe. So this other card is kind of rising up, and that's when I've been selling my DeAndre Hopkins. So I've actually made a profit off these. When it came to his power up, though, I sold that immediately, and I ended up making a decent amount of profit. So let me go ahead and show you guys some stuff. Let's go over DeAndre Hopkins' power up first. So basically, when it comes to power ups, at this point in the year, I feel like a ton of people have invested in power ups already, and power ups haven't really seemed to shoot up tremendously, with the exception of a few players, including Bo Jackson. The MUT 10 players, those have really shot up. Anyone that you can buy for like 2,000 coins are guaranteed to go up in price. Like I told you guys to invest a ton into like Deion Sanders, Randy Moss, because as long as they don't come out with a solo challenge that gives you more, they're going to go up in price guaranteed. But you guys can see here, this is kind of what happened with DeAndre Hopkins' power up. So you can see right here, a ton of people were, buying these guys up for 8K, 9K, some for 4,000 coins, 6,000 coins. I bought a bunch of mine for like 6,000 coins or so, which he's currently selling for. But here is actually when his card was announced. This isn't when the card actually came out. This was when the card was announced. He was up to 14,000 coins. And I will tell you guys right now, I was watching the market when this happened. This was a very, very short amount of time. When it comes to power-ups, you have to be able to sell like immediately, because he was going for 14K, but it was only for like an hour. And then the market got completely flooded by everyone selling their DeAndre Hopkins power-ups, and then he shot all the way down. This is when the card actually came out to about 7,400 coins. So when it comes to power-ups, if you guys are going to invest in them, which you can definitely do with all the players I'm about to tell you guys, except for some that don't actually have power-ups yet, you need to make sure you can go ahead and sell them as soon as they get announced. Follow me over on Twitter. I always let you guys know when new players are coming out. But for DeAndre Hopkins himself, as you guys can see, is up to 210K average. Some cards have been selling for 220, 211 or so. And you can see he was selling for about 130K, 100K, 90K. This is when I was buying a bunch of them, mostly for like 120K or so. And then the card actually came out, and you can see his price never really shot up like dramatically. He was selling for like 160, 130K or so, and now of course he's actually gone up in price as his other card has gone down. So that's kind of the thing you guys need to keep in mind. When a card is cheaper to get, like Bo Jackson, obviously being pretty cheap as a ghost, his series redux shot up tremendously. And you guys can see that currently Bo Jackson is still selling for 320K, but right here when the card came out, he was selling for about 150K, 175K on some days, and then the card came out, he shot up to 543K on average, and I know for a fact he was selling for 700K or so on that same day, and ever since then he's been above 300,000 coins. To be completely honest with you guys, basically the number one investment in Madden 20, and it's kind of just simple like supply and demand, is series redux cards, because you want to invest in cards that you can't really go ahead and just get whenever. Like Team of the Week heroes, you can go ahead, you can complete a set to get a Team of the Week hero, you can complete certain sets to get players, and with series reduxes you can't do a set, you have to pull them, so their supply is still the same unless you happen to pull one, but the demand is way higher, so they rise up. Another thing to keep in mind when it comes to investing is if you invest into a player who gets an LTD, that is not good at all, because LTDs kind of cause power-ups and cause the lower guys to just stay kind of low, because obviously if they're limited times, they're going to be very expensive. So if the top card, the new card just comes out, is pretty cheap, pretty easy to get, that causes the lower cards to go up, but if it's pretty expensive, they don't really change that much. Like here, Khalil Mack, you guys can see, his power-up actually did shoot up to around 25K or so when that card came out, which I was actually pretty surprised by. That's not really normal. And as well with Khalil Mack, probably because he wasn't super expensive, and quite a few people were actually pulling him from the 85 plus pack. As you guys can see, he was about 170K, and he shot at around 266, 300K at times for his ultimate kickoff card. So that was a big dub there. So now let's go over the type of investments that you guys need to go ahead and look into. And one more example I want to show you guys is Luke Kuechly. Whoever invested in Luke Kuechly, you made yourself a ton of coins. You guys can see he's been selling for over 300K recently, and he shot up all the way from 128,000 coins to over 300K on average. If you invested in Luke Kuechly, you made a ton of coins. Now, I do want to go over two players that if you guys are recently invested in, once again, just to kind of show my proof here, that series reductions are 100% the move to go and invest into, but once again, you can't invest in power-ups, you don't have that many coins. But like I said, the more coins you invest, the higher reward you can get. Tre'Davious White completely shot up. And again, keep in mind, guys, this basically is based off of if this player gets a really good card, the price will go up, and it's not LTV. Tre'Davious White, super good cornerback, but if he was a lower overall, if his speed was lower, his series reduction wouldn't have shot up that much. You guys can see, though, he's selling for 179K, 162K, 128K, 100K, all the way up to over 350,000 coins he's selling for now. And Russell Wilson is another player who completely shot up in price, as you guys can see, selling for 182K, 190K, 200K, to now over 400,000 coins. So who are some players I think you guys should invest in? Starting off, we're going to go with Mecole Hardman. He's someone who I think could potentially get a power up very soon. And the reason why I think he could go up in price first up, and also why he's going to get a new card or a power up, is because he has this 95 overall Team of the Year card. I truly do believe it's going to get a new power up because he has that. If he does, he gets Human Joystick, which is going to be key, plus he'll have 98 speed. That's insane. Everyone's going to want a Mecole Hardman. And as you guys can see, I also haven't recently invested in a Mecole Hardman. I need to buy a couple more, but I was buying them for like 35,000 coins. I bought one for last night. You guys see he's currently up for 135,000 coins, which is insane. I don't know why he's going for that much currently. But why is Mecole Hardman a good investment? Well, because he's a Football Outsider. And with Football Outsiders, you guys have to go ahead and buy packs to go ahead and get him. And here's the thing. You guys saw how Mecole Hardman was an 87 overall. The Football Outsider pack in the store currently is only an 88 to 93. So the only way to actually pull that McCall Hardman card is to go ahead and pull him in a regular pack. That's very hard to do. So his supply is extremely limited right now, and if he actually does get that power up, the only way you're going to be able to power your card up, you can see my DeAndre Hopkins selling there, the only way you're going to be able to power up that card is either using a power pass or from buying him off the auction block. Now, one of the only MUT 10 players who actually does not have an upgrade yet, aside from Joe Thomas, I believe, is Julius Peppers, and he's only going for 195,000 coins. And I'm going to let you guys know right now, I have invested pretty dang heavily into Julius Peppers. As you guys can see, I'm planning on buying a couple more, but I actually have quite a few Julius Peppers Series Redux cards already. If players like this really comes down to, is he going to get an LTD? I hope he doesn't, but if he does get an LTD, this definitely is going to suck quite a bit. It might go up a little bit. It's really not going to shoot up that much in price, but I still feel like Julius Peppers, as long as he gets like an Ultimate Legend card, some sort of set that isn't going to be extremely expensive, if he's like 450, 500k, I could definitely see this card shooting up to over 300,000 coins, kind of like Tre'Davious White did. And another investment that I think is a little bit more risky, but it's Von Miller. The reason I think Von Miller is a really good investment currently, and I think I have bought like 2 of these Von Millers so far, but I do plan on buying a couple. I have 3 of them actually. Plan on buying a couple more once I can find some for around 250k or so. Strictly because I believe that he is going to get a really good Super Bowl card. Obviously being the Super Bowl MVP, he hasn't gotten an upgrade since the beginning of the game. I feel like the Super Bowl promo is perfect for a Von Miller upgrade, potentially even a MasterCard if he's going to be a 96, 97. I think that this card could really shoot up in price because you got to think with the Von Miller card, again, there's no way to get this card except for if you actually pull it from a pack. So I feel like Von Miller is probably going to shoot up in price as well. Not just those players, but really anyone that has a limited supply. So I really don't think that investing in, say, Team of the Week heroes is necessarily going to be the correct move here because they're not really limited at all. Same thing with Legends. You can go ahead and complete Legend pieces. I did check the market out when we got like the Marvin Harrison card, when we had a couple of other Legends as well that got upgrades, and they didn't really seem to go up that much in price, but it really just comes down to players that will get upgrades and be a really good card. Someone who I think is kind of a sleeper pick here, I don't really know how much they go up in price, but Davante Adams. Davante Adams only has a 90 overall card. You have to imagine he's getting a pretty solid card. The issue is, he's got 84 speed on a 90 overall. So I really don't know how much this card would increase in price, but it's pretty possible that he does get a Super Bowl upgrade if they end up making the Super Bowl. Davante Adams more than likely would end up getting like a 95 plus overall card. Maybe one you guys want to look into, or maybe even his power up potentially. Also, another guy I think that you could look into maybe is Kellen Winslow, because of course Kellen Winslow was an LTD. He isn't a legend. He's in limited, and I actually, if you guys saw my morning video this morning, I pulled him, and this is kind of what made me think, dang, maybe Kellen Winslow's actually a pretty solid investment here, because at a 91 overall, he's got a really good spec edge, good rounding already, solid run block. He's basically going to be a Tony G, but probably an upgrade when he gets an Ultimate Legend here, and he's only going for 125,000 coins. I don't think that's a bad investment at all. That's one guy I'm definitely going to look into investing in as well. Also, you know, potentially Zeke. As a Cowboys fan, I know I would definitely buy Zeke for 250 plus K if he ends up getting a new upgrade. Carson Wentz is one as well. Keep in mind, like I said, guys, these are kind of like, you don't really know when these cards are going to get new upgrades. This could be a long-term investment. This could be a shorter-term investment, but you want to go into big name players people actually want to get. I personally don't think Dalvin Cook is a very good investment because there's so many good running backs currently in the game. Darren Waller, if he ended up getting a power up, I think it'd be kind of good. Jadeveon Clowney, I'm not that high on. Joe Thomas right now, it's kind of tough with offensive linemen. I don't really like to invest in O-linemen, honestly, because personally, aside from like Zach Martin or like any Cowboys, I don't really like to invest in, like, I don't see a new offensive lineman like, ooh, let me pick that up. I need that player. Unless stats are really good, and it's like an end game type of card. Also, Deion Sanders, he's already at 350K. Randy Moss around that price, well, around 400K. I don't really know about him. But obviously, one person that a lot of people are currently looking into is going to be Lamar Jackson. Now, here's my kind of issue with Lamar Jackson, is I already know with Lamar, he is going to get an extremely expensive card because he's going to win MVP more than likely. He's going to win MVP. Okay, so he's going to get a 98 overall card. The issue is that 98 is going to be so expensive. I don't know how much higher his 93 could get from 375,000 coins or any of his lower overall cards from that. Now, one more player I'm going to give you guys that I personally have invested into, and if there's a couple up, I'm definitely going to be buying as well, is in fact a QB, and it's Deshaun Watson. Now, it's not his Series Redux, though. It's this 85 overall card because he's currently only going for 20,000 coins. And if he ends up getting a power-up, I feel like a lot of people probably want to do it. The thing is with Deshaun Watson, this is literally his last card that goes into the set aside from his playoff because his 91 overall Team of the Week card, LTD Team of the Weeks don't go into power-ups. So I feel like Deshaun Watson, his 85 overall will probably end up shooting up quite a bit. And you guys can see, I'm going to show you right now, I have gotten quite a few of these Deshaun Watson cards because I truly feel like he will go up in price. A bunch of these 85 overall Deshaun Watson. So with that being said, guys, those are my best investments. I know some of them are pretty expensive. Just kind of how it is. Like if you invest a lot, you can make a lot back. There's not really a ton of super cheap investments you guys can look into. Maybe you want to look into like 80 overall McCole Hardman. Not sure how much his price is going to change. Usually it's like the last card that came out. Kind of like, you know, McCole Hardman's bigger card, the Football Outsider, because it is a limited card as well. But you can see currently it's going for quite a bit of coins. I'm not really sure why it's up already that much. He's up to 80k, 134k. I think people are kind of figuring out that he's going to end up getting a new power-up card, and a lot of people are going to want him. But that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you guys drop a like on the vid, and of course hit that sub button down below. Let me know down below what you guys think about it, and also some players you think you could invest into as well. Really any sort of big name player that doesn't have a big supply of cards, you know what I mean? Like the MUT Superstar cards, they're not very... Like, there's not a lot of them. That's why Kuechly shot up so much in price. Bo Jackson as a MUT 10 because he's only got a Series Redux. McCole Hardman is literally out of packs, so that's perfect. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys next time.